This is the ACE perspective, giving another perspective on the recent disaster, or what is known as predicted grades. Now, I'm going to shock a few people because on this short view, I'm going to come a little bit on the side of the government. Now, I hope you're sitting down. Now, we know that the government has made a lot of mistakes and gone around the houses. And I think one of the main thing is that they left a lot of people with anxiety, parents, pupils, and even the university, by changing the system, inventing an algorithm, then switching to mock exams, only to end up with predicted grades, or teachers' predicted grades. Now, I have a little bit of sympathy for them, not for the mistakes they've made, but for the reason behind it. Now, here is a perspective. If the teachers actually were able or were trusted to mark honestly, then the government would not have felt the need to come up with a different form. Now, think about it. We've all been there. The government are like a lot of people who's gone into education in the UK, who's sat beside somebody with less ability, less quality, and found that the teacher has given that person a high predicted grade, when basically everybody in the classroom know that they are not that good. Now, the government knows this. The education department knows this. That's the very reason why they took the decision out of the teachers' hands and decided to come up with an algorithm. They didn't trust him. They couldn't say they didn't trust him, but that's the reason for it. I've been in many classes. I've done assignments. I've done classroom tests where pupils that do assignments and they get really, really high scores, do a classroom test, they score low. They write an English paper, they get a very high score from their teacher. Sit an exam, which is done by examining board, score's not so great. We know that if a teacher likes you, you're likely to get a more favorable result in a test, in a predicted grade. If you're like me, who basically was, I could say, non-committal in class, I'd turn up, sit at the back of the class, I'll sit an exam, passed, turn up next year. Whereas the ones at the front of the class stuck their hand up every 5 minutes, entertained the teacher, they would hand in a piece of work and it would come back with a better score than it deserved. Now, we all know that, whether you're at school, college, university, we've all seen it. There's no point glossing it over. The education department knew this was a possibility. They knew that teachers have an affinity to various pupils, institutions, so they'll give them a better score. They then decided to come up with their own system, which they thought would be fairer. Now, this is where I depart from the government. It would seem that nobody felt that the algorithm would work. So why did they use it? They were under pressure. They did not trust the teachers. Now, there's some teachers who turn around and say, I never do that. Well, you may not, but too many do. And members of the public will know this happens, anyone who's gone to school. Now, I feel sorry for the good pupils, the ones who work hard and the ones who are academically smart. They now will miss out. They will miss out on being differentiated between the average student who works hard, who's not very smart, but has now got the same predicted grades. Those people I miss out. They were better than me. This is the fault of the teaching institution. And it's about time that they take some responsibilities for some of the teachers who, firstly, some can't teach, and then some can't mark. Now, anybody with a bit of common sense would realize that why do you think we are where we are? If everybody trusted the teachers and the way they marked, we wouldn't be in this predicament. Where I depart from the government is when you look at it from the bigger picture, we're back where we are from the very beginning. So we might as well not have bothered, gone through all these different schemes, because now we are where the predicted grades are. We started off with predicted grades where everybody thought, yes, the teacher will predict the grades. And we moved on from there to this algorithm, to mock exams, back to predicted grades. Unfortunately, I feel sorry for students and parents who spent a lot of money and a lot of stress. And in some way, I feel a little bit sorry for universities who's going to have to make space, but not that sorry for them, because they're a private institution who charge a lot of money. And as far as they're concerned, it's bums on seats. Make no mistakes about it. They are offering places, and they have been for years, to people who shouldn't be at university, knowing that they're not going to pass certain exams, certain courses, but they're still going to take your money anyway. This is why I think we are where we are. And that's the truth. It's good to have a bit of home truths. Yes, the government are useless. They should have basically not have bothered, stuck to predicted grades, even though they knew, or they know, that some will be disappointed and some will be extremely happy. For me, if it was in my day, I'd be extremely unhappy because I'd have no work to hand in to get a predicted grade. But it is where it is. There is no right or wrong way of doing it, but there is the lesser of two evils. And their one was completely ill-advised, the way they did it. And it's quite embarrassing for the Secretary of Education to end up where he's ended up, having done a U-turn, like most of the government. They all do U-turns. I basically don't know how these guys are still in employment. I really don't. If that was a private organization, they would all be out of a job. Dominic Cummings, Gavin Williamson, Boris Johnson. I would like to know, and I'd like somebody to advise me. You can, subscribe, message me. You tell me, what do you have to do, or what do these three individuals have to do to get fired? Because I don't know. I have no idea. They've done everything wrong at every opportunity, and they still seem to be untouchable. So there you have it, the brutal truth. Exam results, predicted grades. Yes, we finally got a decision why we were in this predicament in the first place. I say the teacher will have to look at themselves, accept a few home truths. If they marked honestly and fairly and had no favoritism, we wouldn't have this, or we wouldn't be in this mess in the first place. So if you don't know, now you know.